right?
I don't see a problem with
Just literally put the hand up and say, I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the world.
it's
very easy.
Incredibly easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say,
what
this
does
is
doing
who...
it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to
Does
go
it
out
involve
into the
makeup?
world and say, I don't identify as perhaps the sex I
So
was
why
born
can't
as,
I
it's not-
identify... OK, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was...
Well, I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I, on International Women's Day, say, I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd status,
I think
we're
that's
talking
what...
about quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
change.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say, I'm a woman. So I simply...
Oh dear. So, as you saw there, my friends, as you saw there for yourselves, Piers Morgan is becoming one of my favorite presenter very fast. Because remember, like a while ago, he demolished the lying princess of the Duchess of Wokeness, Meghan Markle, right? The woman who got him fired from his job. And now we know that this woman was alive. So, anyways, he's brilliant, and he's definitely one of my favorite anchors on TV right now. I can't think of anybody else that I like more. Maybe there are some I also like, but he's just brilliant. And in this new story that we're going to look at now, you will see how he's going to handle this debate between Hans Wagel, I think his name is, and then a presenter by the name of James Barr, and I believe he's a comedian rather. In my mind, he's a total idiot. And they will be debating essentially the whole debacle with Disney replacing dwarves from the Snow White in the Snow White live action movie that is coming out next year. They want to replace the dwarves with so-called magical creatures, okay? And instead of the dwarf that we loved, the character that we loved. Anyways, so without further ado, let's get into this.
I think that's ridiculous. Why don't we bring in Dylan? Because Dylan is also offended, and he happens to be a dwarf actor. Dylan, I've got to say, I was very curious when I saw what Peter Dinklage came out and said, because I did wonder who appointed him the head of the dwarf actor community. It turns out nobody other than him. And the people who it seems to me have really suffered in all this are the 6 dwarf actors who would have expected to have roles in this remake in a massive Hollywood blockbuster, who are now not going to have that experience, all the money, all the fame that may have come with that. What is your response to them?
Yeah. So I just have to stop there. This is the problem that I have with people who say, for example, that no, because you are black, this is what you must speak. Because you're a woman, this is what you must speak. So it's basically an ideology that they want to shove down our throats, and to tell us that because of all those sometimes immutable characteristics, this is how we must think, this is what we must say, and this is what our politics should be. And they want to put you in boxes. So when Peter Dinklage comes out and says, well, no, but Disney should not use dwarfs, why are you talking as if you were the ambassador or the spokesperson of quote unquote the dwarf community? No, you talking as yourself. You speaking for yourself. You're giving your opinion. Just like when I'm here in front of you guys, I'm giving my opinion. I'm not giving the opinion of all Congolese people. For example, Congolese people living in France. No, I'm speaking as myself. I don't understand this nonsense, really. Yeah, it just drives me crazy.
So it's not a progression at all to me. My issue with it is exactly what you said. there are actors, dwarf actors, that live that dream to be in a major motion picture such as this Disney remake. And now, because Peter Dinklage said what he said last year, now it's taken away, and it's taken away because of quote unquote progression and all that. And it's not really.
He has understood everything. I have been saying progressivism is not progression, is in fact regressivism. It is regressivism because it seeks to make sure that people stay in boxes, and that those boxes are the characteristic or the criteria to be in those boxes are predetermined by people who think that they are your elite. So they will tell you what to think, how to think, when to think it, what word you must use about X, Y, and Z. So really, these people are disgusting. So when a person turns to me and says he's progressive, I think you're one of the dumbest person on the face of the planet. You just have to be. Because of you, this man, for example, will lose a shot at at taking a good role that will make him money and enable him to take care of his family. This is insane. This is insane that we have to say that. So progressivism is, in fact, regressivism, and it is not good for the rest of us.
It's not right, because these are roles made for actors of my stature, roles that aren't ever really given. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me. These dwarf roles are for people of my stature,
Right.
and now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right. And not only that, but now I'll think about the additional stunt actors or body doubles or that. Now you're talking multiple actors
Right.
of my stature that don't get these major roles. And why? What's the reasoning? Because we're supposed to be progressive and we're supposed to just not view them as that.
Well, you know the
These are
irony.
heroes.
The
all
irony.
of these dwarves,
Yeah.
all of
Say
these dwarves
Go on.
took care of Snow White.
Right.
They all had characteristics, separate characteristics. They weren't these cave-dwelling monsters that.
This is this is the reality. This is the reality. Each and every single one of them brought something in Snow White's life. They all made, in their own specific way, they made her life better. They protected her, they provided for her. I don't understand what this nonsense is. You would really think that these are monsters that they needed to change, that the word dwarf is somehow an insult. I mean, this is insane. These are the same group of people who I think last year, I saw that they were organizing graduations in the US where it was basically if you were so one graduation for white people, one graduation for black people, and blah 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 blah, Latino, and so on and so forth. How did we go with the intention of combating segregation to actually inviting segregation? This is insane. Progressivism will be the death of us all.
That people speak of. They all had 7 different characteristics for 7 different actors that from my community, and I don't feel it's right that that got taken.
I
taken
completely
away from us.
and utterly agree with you. And the irony is that they profess, these progressives, to want to do this to protect you, right? They protect dwarf actors from being, somehow smeared. But you don't feel that way at all.
Peter Dinklage spoke up about this, and that was my issue. He had in the past no issue cashing checks that were made for dwarf roles like Elf and all of that. Yes, he blew away the barriers when he did his roles that weren't necessarily made for a dwarf. But the Elf role was made for a dwarf. That check cleared just fine. So now that he's gone and done that, the progression of dwarf actors, it just doesn't sit right with me.
I can,
That this guy who is exactly what you said, what gave him the voice for all of our community.
Yeah,
Why? I was
completely
on.
honest. I think I completely agree. Let me bring James back here. So
When
James,
Piers Morgan is agreeing with you, I think you need to be concerned. I'll say that for the.
so you're telling the dwarf actor what he should
But
feel.
I'm definitely
Hang on.
And that's
Having
what I
literally just lectured me
What I wouldn't
about
say.
speaking for someone in the dwarf community, Warren Davis, you now accuse a dwarf
I'm
actor.
not. No, it's not what I said. I said that if you're siding with anyone, you've got to worry.
Right.
What I'd like to say actually is that I kind of mostly agree with what you're saying.
Now you're, sir, that's just taking a pot shot there.
No,
by saying,
it is
Piers
absolutely
Morgan
exactly a pot shot. But I do agree with what you're saying. I completely agree with your point of view, and I think that's really important. But I can only speak from my experience, and as a gay man, I know that growing up, I witnessed gay people being villains in movies when I was.
Seven dwarves aren't villains.
And that I think stereotypes are really important too.
What stereotype do you think they
actually,
represent?
in the universe of Snow White, wouldn't it be
I
better
don't feel
if dwarfs
I don't feel
are?
This is part of the stereotype.
Right.
This is a
Exactly. Wait. Oh my goodness. Oh my, these people are insane. What stereotype is that? What stereotype is there? Like, look at his face. Look at this stupid man face. Look at his face. This is the face of a person who doesn't understand anything and who thinks that he has an idea of what he's talking about. A complete nonsensical woke person who is basically brain dead. I don't know. This infuriates me even more because this is the problem. This is what's so wrong with progressivism and with wokeness. It destroys everything. It destroys everything. And they don't even realize that this is what they're doing.
well, roles that were made for people such of my stature that don't have the chance to go out for other roles normally.
But you, James,
So why are we
you want to stop Dylan
I am
getting
not.
a role in a
Yes,
Hollywood
I
film.
am not going to get into an attack on a
You
dwarf.
don't want a dwarf actor to
No, I
play
do.
a role
I do
playing
actually.
a dwarf part.
Listen, a
Why?
dwarf can play a dwarf part, but I think it's important to change narratives that don't fit in today's society. And really, it
Which
might
is that
be better-
narrative?
It might be better
What's the-
if dwarfs
Sir,
just exist
sir,
in
pardon
normal
me.
roles everywhere because they do exist.
What was
in
so
movies
bad
everywhere.
about the way dwarves are depicted in Snow White? Have I missed something?
Well, listen, I'm not here to talk about.
That's what I'm kind of wondering.
Well,
as well.
I don't represent Disney, but I'm just saying I think I see their point of view.
What's their point of view? What was so bad about the depiction of dwarves?
Why are you
What's
so
their point of view?
upset about a movie changing with the time?
Idiots, just answer the question. What was so wrong with the depiction of the dwarves in the original story? So if you have a point, just answer the damn question. It is not that hard. Just answer the damn question. If you think you're right, just defend your point of view.
Times and moving forward.
Because I think that honestly, with
Is
great
this really,
respect,
there is real news we could be
Right.
discussing.
no, but this is real news if you're a dwarf actor who are now out of work because of virtue signaling idiots.
But you're just
who
using
think that
this.
everything has to be rewritten
You are just
to be
using Dylan
inclusive.
as a cheap
When in
shot.
fact, it's not inclusive at all.
No, you're using Dylan as a cheap shot to attack a wokey.
I don't think Dylan feels I'm using him as a cheap shot. What I would say about the wokey thing is this. I have spent the last year listening to people tell me only gay actors should play gay parts. Only Welsh actors, so Michael Sheen, should play Welsh characters. And so on and so on and so on.
The nuance.
But the moment we have dwarf roles, which are the most famous dwarf roles in Hollywood history, then the only people apparently who can't play them are dwarf actors.
Dwarf
And I see there
cartoon
stinking
here.
woke hypocrisy.
It has not changed. It was a cartoon. Those weren't actually dwarfs in the movie. They were drawn. Okay. So firstly,
They were drawn as dwarfs.
no, that is.
But it's a
the
story
story
about
about
dwarfs.
dwarfs.
This
Well, they shouldn't be
story
called that.
about
They should be
dwarfs.
called.
They shouldn't be called dwarfs.
No, they should be called.
This person makes my heart boil, really, but my blood, sorry, boil. This person is the definition of stupid. Of course, characters are drawn. Try to replace T'Challa, Black Panther, with someone else. This person is the definition of stupidity. Is the definition of stupidity. And this, my people, is why I do not like woke people. They are insufferable. They infect you with everything, with the stupidity at every single level. It's insane. It is completely insane.
People with
They shouldn't be
dwarfism.
called.
What's wrong with
They
being
shouldn't
called
be called
dwarf?
Nothing,
dwarves.
but that's not the
That's the
correct term.
story.
Dylan,
The story
apparently
is
you're not allowed to
No,
call
you
yourself.
shouldn't call himself what?
Apparently, Dylan, you're not allowed to call yourself dwarfs. Apparently.
I'd love to hear. What should I call myself, sir?
I think you should call yourself whatever you feel comfortable with, but as a person,
He calls himself a
well,
dwarf.
that's
A
great
dwarf.
enough. Good
Yeah.
for you. I'm happy.
So now, sir, let me pause that. So it shouldn't be called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It should
Listen,
just be
I
called
do not
Snow
want to
White.
Oh.
I think your point of view is more important than mine right now. But what I'm annoyed about is Piers trying to take a cheap shot at someone that believes in society moving forward.
Yeah, I'm actually exposing the hypocrisy of the woke mentality. Only gay people can play gay parts. Only trans actors can play trans parts. And so on and so on and so on.
I think we will
right
get
to the
to a
point.
place where
Right to the
everyone
point.
can play
Snow
every
White and
role.
the Seven Dwarfs has to be cancelled because you're not allowed to have dwarf
You should be happy, Piers, because it means that now you can play your dream role of Grumpy.
I would love to play Grumpy. I loved all the dwarves in that movie. They were great. Let me ask
now
you
you're
guys.
being a hypocrite.
guys,
You'd love to play Grumpy, but you're taking a role away from a dwarf
The issue
actor.
at hand.
No, I would play a fully grown Grump
by
quite happily.
taking away a role from a
Let me ask you, Dylan, about the Hugh Grant playing an Oompa Loompa, because again, it seems to me we've got a clip of him playing an Oompa Loompa. Let's have a look at this.
Funny little man who's been following. I will have you know that I'm a perfectly respectable size for an Oompa Loompa.
An Oompa what now?
Allow me to refresh your memory.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear that.
Too late. I've started dancing now. Once we've started, we can't stop. So you're the funny little man who's been following.
Now, they use CGI there, Dylan, to effectively make him into an Oompa Loompa
So
dwarf.
now,
What do you feel about that?
yes, sir. So now we're not only using CGI and spending extra money and funding for these movies when we could just cast dwarves in that role. Whether it be one dwarf or multiple, that like they have been in the past. Now you're taking at least one role away or multiple roles away for Oompa Loompa characters. That's what they were in the past. And why, again, I go back to my stance on these roles in Hollywood in general are very hard for people of my community to get, besides the elf and the leprechaun and this and that. So why are they being taken from my community? That's my issue here.
Well,
It's
you know
not
why? You know
anything
why,
about the
Dylan?
stereotypes
You know why?
or
Because
anything.
people like James here, they think it's progressive and inclusive.
Now,
When
see,
in fact it's regressive.
those are not my words,
It's
actually.
regressive
Piers,
and exclusive.
your words.
Piers,
Dylan?
Piers, I will agree with the mindset of it's not right. I don't know. James seems to be in partial agreement with me on the dwarf actors and the roles with that these should be. But I don't. On the other stuff, I can't speak on that. Obviously, I'm focused fully on the dwarf community really losing roles in these films.
Yeah, I think James started
with
James
all the
started
SAG strikes, with all the writer strikes.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
listen,
actor strike.
I do agree with you,
It's
and I
important.
think all I'm trying to say is that I think it's a nuanced conversation, and there's a few different points of view that are valid, and ultimately, in my experience as a gay man,
Wait. Did the guy say that a few opinions that are valid? Who appointed this idiot to be the validator of opinions? Like who appointed these idiots to do that? No man, these people, they make my heart, my blood boil. These people are insane. No.
the reason we're upset about gay people not getting gay roles in movies is because we're not getting straight roles as well, and until we are, it's unfair that those roles are taken away from us. So, in that respect,
What's that got to
that-
do with
that's-
dwarf actors? Because
and
they
that's
can't
something-
play
Well,
regular sized parts.
I think Peter Dinklage's original point is that he would like to see more dwarfs in films in general, not just playing dwarfs.
That
in
wasn't
general,
what he said.
literally, a person of my stature should be able to go out for the same as a 6'5", 200-pound human. But it's just not that way, and I'm okay with that. In reality, I'm okay with that. It's understandable to me. But when it's these roles that are made for people of my stature,
Yes.
that's where I have the issue.
You know what, Dylan? The movie, one of the great movies of all time, is called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. If dwarf actors in Hollywood are not picked to play those roles, I don't know what roles you're supposed to be playing. It's unbelievably
I have
patronising. They've done this under the banner of so-called progression.
And it's not, again, like I said, these dwarves in that movie or in this story aren't viewed poorly, I don't believe.
No.
They're all separate characters that are actually heroes for this lady.
Yes.
And they take care and they take this lady in.
They save
so
her.
they're viewed so well to society.
They save the woman.
Now
they're hardworking. They're wealthy. They are kind. They are generous-hearted. It's hard to think of a more positive narrative about any people at all.
Well, let's just go back to the 1930s, Piers. I think
What an idiot!
would exist.
No, it's not black.
What an idiot! No, I mean, sorry, yeah. Honestly, and he calls himself a comedian. This is a ridiculous individual. I can't even keep seeing his dumb, truly dumb face. But anyways, you've heard it for yourselves, guys. Yeah, the madness is never going to end. The madness is never going to end because the madness has taken hold. It has taken hold of these people's mind. And they don't even realize the damage that they're doing. They do not realize the damage that they're doing. No. Anyway, so this is the reality. This is the reality of the world that we live in now. And I'm telling you, if you see a person like that, stay away from them. Stay away from them. Because the mindset is going to infect you. The mindset is going to infect you. I mean, it is insane. It is insane. But anyway, so that is all I had for you guys today. So I will very much appreciate if you can like, comment, subscribe to this channel as we continue on our way to reaching our next goal, which is to reach 1,000 subscribers. So I very much appreciate every single one of you. And so until next time, peace.